Okay, we're taking a look at my 1984 Yamaha QT50. You can see there's a little gas dripping down there. So that's great. Anyway, one of the things I want to do here is I'm going to go back into this. I had previously done an oil delete on this. Oil pump delete, that is. And I use the oil tank as a reserve fuel tank now. If I can get this off, you can see there's just gas in there. The gas in here, premix. Oh, I'm gonna need to order a new gasket. Anyway, this bike I've had, well, it's been in the family since new. My grandfather bought it new in '84. And I got it after he passed. So, done a lot of work to it, but anyway, on this video, I'm gonna go back in here and I'm gonna add the oil pump back into the system and to make it more original. And then I don't have to worry about premix anymore because now I have that bike that is oil injected, and having one that is and one that isn't when you're traveling is kind of not ideal for a guy. So we're gonna go back in here and get into that oil pump. Now, if you're thinking about doing an oil delete, this will be the reverse. So, you know, there's that. You can watch me put it back together. At least how I did it. There's multiple different ways to do an oil delete on these bikes. This is the way I did it. I'm gonna reverse it. I'll take you along for the ride. This is the old airbox housing, but I still have some of it on there so I can put my side cover on. So let's get that off, one bolt, get in here and figure out what we need. Okay. Now, this cover should come off. We got a Phillips here. This is just the pump cover. That's the oil pump that turns. There's a gear inside here that I removed that turns this to pump the oil. This is the actual oil pump here. I put some covers on the inlet and outlet. So we're gonna have to pop this back out and put the gear back on. And all this here is the spring for the throttle. See, when I turn the throttle, it springs and that adjusts how much oil this allows through while that's spinning. I don't know. I made it sound more complicated than it is. It's a super simple design. Pump and throttle assembly. There you go. Just a rubber seal on there. And right here is where your gear needs to go on, which I removed so it's not spinning your pump. Just pull this gear off the end here, which I'll put one back on. I'll show you that in a minute, but that way when it's moving in there in the crank, it'll spin this, therefore spinning the oil. I'm gonna clean this up, get a new gear for this, and we'll put it back together. Okay, so while we're waiting for the worm gear to put back on, I just plugged it up with some paper towel, wiped it down. We gotta convert back our oil tank to oil and fuel, just to fuel. And how I did it was I just put a T in here. So I'm gonna shut the gas off, remove this T fitting, and run a new line directly from the carburetor to our peacock here for the fuel. And then we'll have to run a new one from the tank, oil tank right here, down to the oil pump. New line, which shouldn't be too big of a deal, except for all the gas that's gonna pour out when we do it. So that's great. See if we can dispose of some of this fuel without soaking everything else. Kind of see what we got going here. Just a T so that both tanks run to the same. I had a shut-off valve for reserve. We're gonna remove all of this garbage and just straight lines. We need to run a fuel line. That seems kind of loose, honestly. Might tighten that up a minute. And turn this so that it's shooting the direction we want it to be shooting here. Now the hose will run down and more straight. That looks pretty good. Ah, all the torques. Pretty happy with that, how that looks. You can still get to the on-off switch here. And now we have our hose will run down right to the carb. From here, I guess, for my filter. So I just need a small section from here to there. So let me grab that in a minute. All right, I was able to find some old fuel line that was used for something else, but I think it'll be just long enough to reach. Not the greatest fuel line, but if it works, it works. It's gonna be close. Get on there. Fuel's on. Let's look for leaks. Now our oil should be free of gas, except for the residue. I gotta let it evaporate and dry out of there. All right, well, it's been a few days. Got some parts in for the Yamahopper. Some new used parts on eBay. So let's go ahead. This is the gear and the snap ring supposedly that fits it. So let's get that on. And I'm still waiting on UPS. Hopefully they show up here shortly. I needed to get some different diameter oil line because we need to run a separate line now from the oil tank to the pump, and then from the pump to the carburetor where it's gonna pump the oil. So hopefully he shows up here in a little bit, but let's get this new drive gear on the pump and see how it fits. You can see I had stuffed a rag in here, so I didn't want any dirt and debris to get in there. So sure enough, you can see where the pins are gonna go here. So this is gonna do that. And then there should be a little snap ring in here. She's gonna retain it on there. Let's get that on. Oops. Slippery little bugger when you got oil on it. Yeah. Go figure. Oops. Where'd you go? Let's see if I can get this on here. The 15th try here without dropping it. There it is. Just need a little persuasion. There you go. Now we got a drive gear. I like it. So we should, in theory, slide this back in here. Make sure there's no dirt or anything in there. Let's see. This gotta put our throttle cable back on here. Like that, I suppose. Why is that not going in there like we want it to? Tell me why. Where you at? What's going on here? Well, that's a little bugger. I can't see. Can't quite get it to mate up. It's kind of like a guessing game here. Trying to get this thing to... So that's straight up and down. It's not going in there. Give me a minute here to figure this out. I learned something. So this mates to your pump in here, but these are two different sizes. So it won't work both ways. I probably had it 180 degrees out, and that's why it wouldn't, because it does go in, well, it did. Yeah, goes all the way in that way. So if I just keep it like that, spring in, get my cable out of the way here. Actually, I gotta put the cable on there. So let me do that. Well, this is frustrating for some reason. I feel like, there it is. Got it. Oh man. Throttle turn, throttle turns, as return. Oh, what a bugger. So how I finally got it was I put the rod, this rod that's sticking out right here, with the spring in there, and then I put the rest of the unit on there. I had to do it a couple times because it's got to be lined up just perfect. There's like no margin there. But I got it. So now there's a short and a long screw. And I think the long screw is going to go up here. Let's start with that one, I suppose, and keep working forward here. 'Cause everything's in the way. There we go. Woo! I think we got it.
You did?
I think so.
Are you gonna test it now?
Well, I don't have it completely. I need to wait for some fuel lines to come and stuff. But I think we got the main part back to where we want it. All right, let's see if this fits. Got some of this left over. I think that'll work with a clamp. And then we'll go over to the carburetor. It's bigger. Let's see if that works. Oh yeah, perfect. I got my other line in from UPS. So go ahead and try to get this attached if we can. This means we gotta get this plug off here. There we go. Now this should All right, let me fight this on this nipple here a minute. I'll be back with you. Well, okay, we got that. So, we got our new, where are you? Okay, we got our new line. Of course, there's not a clamp on there right now. I will get a clamp, but we're gonna test it first because it's on there snug enough just to sit here and let it run. So the oil in our oil tank will go down our new yellow into the big in the pump. This should start spinning. Our small one will come out. The back side of the pump there, which again, I will clamp it when I get clamps, and then here, which I will clamp as well. So, we should get oil down and then pumped in this way. I just ran it under there. For the purposes of this video and to make sure that this is gonna work, I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the oil tank, run it. I already have pre-mix still in here. So even if this does not start to pump and we have to do something different, I'm not running the engine without oil because I have pre-mix. Essentially, it'll be running very rich because if this does work, it'll be pumping oil plus there'll be pre-mix in it. I might have to, it's half a tank. I might pump some of that out once I know it's working and put fresh non-mix in there. In fact, I will do that. But let's make sure this is all working. Then I'll get some clamps on it. We'll clamp it up. Of course, these lines are black originally. This is just a black thin little line. So if you're taking this apart, it won't be the yellow tubing. That's the new stuff. Anywho, looks like I need clamps on here as well. In fact, I think I might replace some of this too. This is looking a little bit not great with the leftover yellow tubing I got. I got a little chunk there left. Might be enough to run from here up. One last thing is this is your oil sensor. It just unclips. I just clipped it back in. So when you do the delete, you're gonna have to unclip this or you're gonna show an oil light. Just unplug that little clip right there and that'll solve that problem. All right, one more thing is make sure to buy the yellow tubing, not this blue stuff on the jungle site. I was able to replace all of it. This was left over from a project I did before. I know I have it on the Arctic Cat snowmobile and I'll probably be replacing that as well. Tygon, buy the real stuff. This stuff gets hard. It doesn't fit right. It doesn't work as nice. Let me show you what we got. Much nicer fit. Everything's run. Of course I need to clamp it, I know, but everything's run nicely now. I got all the fuel line redone with this good Tygon. Just a nice cleaner setup, a nice flow pattern. I'm gonna go ahead and spray some of this oil and dirt crap off with the brake cleaner or carb cleaner. What do I got? Yeah, I got some brake cleaner here. Just kind of an oily mess. This old clear line here, or yellowish line, is this for the battery acid drain. It's really not even necessary, but I'll probably end up giving this thing a full detail. It's probably deserving of it. All right, so I went ahead and dumped some 2-stroke oil back into the oil tank. I'm not seeing anything coming through yet, so let's go ahead and try to fire it up a minute and see if it starts pulling like we want it to. Definitely starting to see some oil come through. Barely. See the red. All right, I've topped off the oil tank. The light flickered off. Let's get it started back up and see if we can pull some more. I think we got it licked. You can see here, we finally got oil to come around. See the red tint in there. It took a good 4 or 5 miles of running pretty hard to get it there, get all the air bubbles out. So if you're doing this, make sure you're running pre-mix still while you're getting this primed. But now that I've got fresh oil running in, I should be able to run just regular gasoline separate like it was originally. So pretty happy about that. Still running really good. I just filled it back up, so it's mostly fresh gas. A little bit of oil left in there, so it'll burn a little rich here for, you know, the next 10 miles or so, but not gonna hurt anything. I hope if you made it this far in the video, this helped some of you out there, whether you're gonna be, you get one and it's got the oil delete and you wanna go back to original factory like I just did here, or the opposite, you know, we just reverse what we did. If you have one and you wanna go to a premix, you can just remove that gear, unplug your sensor for your oil, run your wire, run your tubing, and you don't even have to use necessarily like this was set up with the oil tank being a reserve for fuel. You don't really need to do that, but it is available if you wanted a little more fuel capacity. So that is one benefit of it. So again, appreciate you guys very much. Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can see I got the zoom out too. I was cleaning that one out. And I take these things for a spin around town. So until next time, we'll see you.